Love the sirens. Thank you, random human.
It's just the warning sirens for.
They know it's gonna get real. They know it's gonna get real in here. Like that's what it is. Lock up your wives, everybody. All right, and then we'll go ahead and switch this over. Boom. All right, we're live. So I have with me AOS coach. Wait, no, I confused you Australians. Which one are you?
I'm Anthony, the AOS coach, and I'm here with Mr. Mephisto, the Ossiarch Bone Reapers enthusiast, and we're here today to talk about everything hobby and community. Mr. Meth, why don't you take it away and tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into the hobby? Not really, it's Michael from Doom and Darkness, and we're here to talk all things orcs, fun, community, and just have a little bit of unfocused RantCast.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna see where we're gonna go ahead and see where everything takes us. So I feel like in RantCast fashion, I can't just jump in at the beginning of the community article here on orcs because one rule has been going around in particular that everyone's talking about. So do you mind if we just jump right in and talk about that real quick, which is this ignore ethereal what is it? Strength of purpose.
Okay, sure.
So I read at the very beginning of the section a day one errata. Yeah, there's going to need to be a day one errata. Well, we'll talk about that a little bit. So just reading the real quick treatment on orcs and the Warclans here is it says that it's kind of they actually said literally they're taking two books and putting them in one. That's their mission statement. Have you read the community article yet? Or are you going in blind?
Yeah, no, I have read it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it says like they're just putting two books in one, but then you're going to be able to. So both forces are free to ally with one another or join forces as a big Wa.
Yep.
Did I pronounce Wa correctly? I don't speak destruction.
Well, I think you meant to yell at like Wa, but
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. So right off the gates, they're showing just rule upon rule, and I see a lot of language where it says, bone splitters, or iron jaws. So with this strength of purpose thing here. It's the Drakfoot. So is that, do you think, going to be more of like an enclave specific? Is that going to be, how do you think they're going to handle these two monsters coming together in this book? Because I think this right here is pretty telling.
Yeah, I really don't know. I'm like, it might just be that if you're Bone Splitters specific, you can take a sub-faction for Bone Splitters in which, you can be Drakfoot as a sub-faction. Whether or not you could be Drakfoot in a combined force, I don't know. Whether or not you could somehow sneak Ironjaws in as Drakfoot, I don't know. But as I read this and it applies to Bone Splitters, right? So I imagine that the unit or the army is going to have that Bone Splitters keyword in order for it to slide in and be usable. With Drakfoot, I mean, it could be completely wrong, but that's just the first impression that I get.
I love that we're jumping in on like immediate speculation, but this is the hot button subject. It's been lighting up Twitter today, Twitter and Facebook.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see it. Like, first of all, I just want to shh. It's okay to everybody real quick. Like, right. Vlazda with an ethereal amulet's like the last good thing in Legion of Nagash, and so I'm not scared.
That guy needs to die. I mean, I don't care. He has pushed my poo in so many times. I have no sympathy for him, and if Drakfoot just shoots him off, but I mean, I guess the thing is that Cunning Ruck, which is the big bad that we all think of straight away,
right?
They never really had Rend anyways, right?
Right, and that's the thing is like if this is going to Ironjaw, or I'm sorry, if this is going to Bone Splitters, which I think it's going to be, and even if you end up being able to get IJ and Bone Splitters on the same list, I bet you it's going to be Drakfoot Bone Splitters, which tend not to have Rend to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, where it becomes awesome is when you've got Drakfoot big stabbers, and you can run those big stabbers into a bloody Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon and just absolutely skewer him.
Oh, yeah.
That's the exciting bit. But, I think that's sort of fine. And I don't foresee that all of a sudden the Bone Splitter shooting is going to become high Rend.
Right.
So I think this is only going to be applicable and relevant to a certain amount of units. But the thing for this that gets me thinking is it says, in addition, any ability that negates wounds has no effect on wounds inflicted
And
by Dragfoot units. So does this affect
after saves.
well, Gotrek's ability to only take 1 damage?
So
Because it's
I have to read. I'm gonna pull up Gotrek's War Scroll real quick. Because it says
that's an ability that negate wounds, right? If it does more than 1 damage, it only can do 1.
Right. So the wording is super important on this one, right? It's going to take care of the shoulder plate of Edessa, which is automatically awesome. He's not getting that 3-up after save. So weight of dice is kind of already the way you deal with Gotrek, which is just, skeletons, for instance. Like, just throw, 40 wounds at him or something like that is what the math works out to, is what you need to get through. So dancing skeletons can put that on them, because that after save is really like the big problem. But with it's Avatar of Grimnir, right? It says, if the damage inflicted by an attack, spell, or ability that targets or affects this model is greater than 1, change it to 1. Now, it doesn't say anything about negating it.
Right.
So it's changing the damage characteristic. So I think his ability still works, as I'm reading it now.
But you think that this removes ward saves? You can't take a ward save.
Yes, and that's the big one. I think it's going to be those after saves. It's going to be those feel no pains that whatever I think we settled on shrug as a community is what we've decided, right? It's those shrugs. It's those after saves is like the big one.
Right. I mean, the thing is like Maniac War Boys and the Bone Splitters on boars do a ton of attacks, like just a massive high volume of attacks, and at the moment they can fight twice as well. So, I mean, that's all you need. You need those in Dragfoot, and they'll just put out a ton of attacks.
Weight of dice, and so now to contrast that with shoulder plate. Roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to this model. On a 3-up, that wound or mortal wound is negated. That's pretty much the exact language of this strength of purpose, which is, in addition, any ability that negates wounds has no effect on wounds inflicted.
Well, I'm glad that little... Can I swear? That little
guy...
Yeah,
we're mature. And I don't monetize, so I don't give a shit. Like, fucking tee off, man.
Right. Well, I'm glad that little fucker's going to get poleaxed by a whole bunch of greenskins, and that is about as appropriate as I can imagine. So, excellent.
Yeah, the ancient grudge remains, the orcs versus dwarves, right? Yep. That's as old as Lord of the Rings. So, I think that's the real power, I think, of strength of purpose, because as you point out, like, Big Stabbas, they've got some rend, but the Arrow Boys, which is what everyone's kind of talking about, they're not really rend. It's that after save. I think that's really low key. Like, I think that's the low key heat on this ability. Basically at once I'm telling the community to be at ease. It's not that bad, but also be afraid. Be very afraid.
Who's it bad for though? Who's it bad for?
Morathi. Morathi's language says it actually uses the word negated, I believe, in her any wounds dealt beyond 3 are negated. And so
yes, good.
So
that I don't have any sympathy for her either, to be honest with you. So, like, big deal.
But the big thing is to see this get it's probably going to need to get clarified in FAQ, because do they mean specifically after saves? Because this is any ability that negates wounds has no effect on wounds inflicted. That's the language of the after save. So I think that's.
And is it the first ability, apart from things that kill models outright, that ignores or negates ward saves or save after saves?
Well, anything that slays you outright doesn't give a crap about after saves. Gotrek is a specific special case where his says it becomes a mortal wound instead.
Yeah. So this is the first rule that we've seen, though, in Age of Sigmar that is specifically designed to both ignore ethereal and also ignore after saves.
This is the arms race of rules right here, is what I was calling it on my Twitter. I joked like a year ago or something facetiously, probably with Haywo, that we're gonna see like no really mortal wounds or something like that. This is the mortaler wounds. This is the like, there's too many mortal wounds in the game, so now we're gonna have everything with feel no pain, or a mortal wound save. You know what? But now there's too many after saves because you have Hagnar just ruining it for fucking everybody. Like, so now you're going to see strength of purpose. Um,
Yeah, I guess it's. I mean, the only thing I can see is Ethereal is generally strong against every army except for armies which have a high mortal wound output, and it is seemingly that mortal wounds are becoming more and more common, and so that ethereal rule, has a less return for Nighthaunt players, and
absolutely.
now you introduce this, which is probably just going to be one more thing. But then it's complicated. You've got a number of drops, and I played against a Nighthaunt player the other day. He was 2 battalions. He was bugger all drops. He could just pop down. He just wrecked me so quickly. And the combination of not being able to use Inspiring Presence for Battle Shock and so forth, that is generally what smashes orcs.
Right.
So,
Right.
maybe there's a built-in counter, regardless of all this, where Nighthaunt will just be a good match for them anyways.
See,
We'll have to wait and see.
I do think. I mean, the Nighthaunt has the power. So if you go the Bone Splitters route, right, you have the power to hide half your army off the table. That's a
Yep.
really powerful trick against shooting. So you inherently have the like. I'm of the mind that models should be pulled off in Age of Sigmar. You may disagree. Like rolling extra saves 3 times, 4 times. Like I think things should just die and they should be
I
pulled
hate it.
off. What?
Yep, I want stuff to die.
Yeah, stuff should just die in this game. And so like I'm not like pitching this as the greatest rule I've ever seen or anything like that. I'm just trying to tell people to temper their expectations a little bit. This is very much a silver bullet though. Like this isn't like a ubiquitous. It's a silver bullet to again, especially after saves. It's splash hates on Ethereal, but Ethereal is already kind of like it's ethereal. It's a couple ethereal amulet monsters rolling around that like everyone loves, um, and then Night Haunt. So like that's what this like. It's
Yeah,
I don't
I
think that
guess
that
it's just there must be there's obviously something I'm missing within Bone Splitters because, like I said, from my knowledge of Bone Splitters at the moment, everything has no rend or very low rend, and it's only really the big stabbers which would really take like benefit from this because Cunning Ruck, you're just a bucket of dice anyways. Ball Boys, you're a ton of dice anyways.
mhm.
And so if you're with no rend, so ethereal, like it won't matter.
Right, and we haven't seen like really how they're going to join these forces. Maybe there's a battalion that allows this big wah to be joined under one banner, and you can do some tricks. Putting this on brutes is where you'd love like the multiple wahing brutes is where I think you'd like to have a lot of fun with it.
I mean, if we're talking about this on Iron Jaws now, we're a whole different world.
Right, right. And I just want to address something that Joel said here in chat, which is the meta is going to be flipped entirely in 2 months. And just from sheer volume of content alone, I agree. There's no way that like just the amount of stuff that's come out and good on GW, like bringing a bunch of these outdated tomes into 2.0. Like awesome. I like it's gonna be rocky going. Maybe Cunnin Rocky going forward for a little bit, but like I think we're gonna. It's for the better in the long run. You know.
Yeah, I think it actually brings the game back to probably a healthier place for me personally, where because there will be so many new and so many updated armies out there, and so much variance in that rock paper scissors sort of game
Yeah.
that you have fewer people playing the same army. And of those people that are playing the same army, there's likely to be more different builds amongst those people playing it. So you've got much more variety, and then the interactions between all of that range of different armies is what's going to be strong against what. It's going to be so dynamic that I think that real big fat middle that people have spoken about
Yeah.
will genuinely evolve, and then you're in this really sweet spot where instead of just having, say, a handful of super dominant armies, I think you're probably always going to have that just because of
You
the
will.
rules and balancing issue. But I think it will be less of a problem, and there'll be more people that are comfortable just to say, you know what, I can take pretty much whatever army I like the most, find a build that is going to be strong and will compete in that fat meta depending on how the dice and the matchups play out for me.
Right.
And I just think that's awesome because instead of, oh, this is this, and I need to be playing this army if I want to compete against this army, I think now it's just going to be a matter of, well, you've got 5 or 6 games at a tournament. There are going to be 15 to 20 competitive armies out there. And so realistically, I can take that punt of just purely playing the army that I really love most, make something competitive out of it, and go smash some face. And I think that is like the sweet
That's the
spot
dream.
for AOS.
That's the dream. That's the dream. Is like you're gonna have like, I'm just gonna arbitrarily say the big 3. You're always gonna have like the 1 or 2, maybe 3 filthiest things in the game, but that the other stuff that you're not like walking up to a table with like, my army is garbage, I am just going here to literally drink beer and have fun, but to actually take the army you love and be like, if I catch a lucky break, I've got a shot here. That's a much sweeter spot to live in for your like army that's just the pet army that you've stuck with for a long time. That's a way better.
And
that's a way. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that this is going to be balanced, or I'm not talking about this is a sense of balance because within that dynamic, you're still going to show up with your army that is competitive and have a complete mismatch on the table and have it over turn 2, and you can then look at that situation and go, well, this is a balance, this is ridiculous. So the dynamic I'm sort of trying to explain where I think we're heading is not one of balance, but I think it's just a more variety and more fun overall.
Well, it's gonna dilute it. It's gonna spread the field out some, instead of like just seeing the same 3 armies, same 4 armies, the same build of every army. You're gonna start to actually see some true variance beyond just novelty. You're gonna see like people's, like, you always see people's personality because it's a hobby game, but like you're gonna see, it's gonna go from just seeing their personality in their models to seeing their personality in their armies, and I think that's a lot cooler. Like, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say we jumped really quickly from one rule into the whole meta thing and the change of things. So let me just pull it back again. And I just want to say, firstly, Mr. Mephisto, I'm so happy that you've started to do this RantCast thing because it's the content that I like to listen to while I'm at work. I'm always at work with my headphones in. I want something that's topical that I can just listen to, just some general sort of thoughts, and this is awesome, and that's why I wanted to be on the show. And then I wanted to say thank you by doing a little giveaway as well, right? So there's two things, right? For anyone that's watching this on YouTube, because I don't know how to use Twitch, I'm sorry, but for anyone that's watching this on YouTube, just leave a comment on the video below. You have to be a subscriber, but leave a comment, and then Doomcast episode 5, I'll pick one of those people that's commented it on this video, and we'll do a giveaway now. There's only 2 boxes that I've got here that I can spare to give away. One is Fellwater Troggoths, and the other one is a Space Marine Primaris Apothecary. He didn't really work for me because I've been sick lately, so I'm not sure which one to give away. What do you think?
What the hell is 40K?
Right, okay, so it's going to be a a box of Fellwater Troggoths as a giveaway, so make sure you hit the subscribe button for Mr. Meph and leave a comment on the video, and Doomcast episode 5, I'll go through and I'll choose one of those and we'll give it away. So, cool. Thank you.
Wow, no, thank you. That's really cool. Look at that cross branding. That's why you're basically the master. No, so to bring it back, the beauty of the RantCast is we can kind of jump off in various directions. But Ironjawz, I'm really happy for the Orruk Warclans. When I saw the allegiance abilities for Ironjawz in the new GHB, I'm like, this is good. Like, when I think Haywo and I we did like a grading thing, and I got scrapped from that episode, and he went in because it was too long. But it was the only thing in the whole GHB I gave like an A+, because it did everything that a GHB can do for an army, and then I'm like, wait, there's a book coming too? Oh shit, awesome! Like, that shows me they've got their fingers on the pulse of this army, and so I'm not a destruction player, but kudos as from the outside looking in. I'm really excited about this. Well, the game's better when orcs are better. Like, the game is just better when orcs are better.
Very true, and we'll come back to this because I want to take this stream down a little bit of a dark path because you brought up THB 2019, and that is a triggering event for me. So, what's up with this?
Was it deadly as ever?
Yeah, we
Was
have
that
gut
was it
busters.
deadly as ever?
We have gut busters with not a single change, right? Because they're just as deadly as ever.
Deadly as ever if they
Right?
are.
So
Empirically
that means we're
speaking.
going to get that means we're going to get a book soon, right? That means we're going to get a book
That's right.
soon.
That's right.
But we see Iron Jaws come out with points changes, with a new allegiance ability, with all the good stuff, and then they are probably the first thing to get a book out. So there is no I can't see any justification now for why we didn't get any changes in that book and why some allegiances got touched and some others. There just doesn't seem to be any logical thought behind it that I can come up with. Please correct me if you think I'm wrong.
No, I don't think you're wrong. I think it oh man. See, I think the JHB was just a kind of a mess for pretty much every reason outlined. Inconsistent would be my word. It was inconsistent. Like if you're gonna bring up IJ and they're most certainly getting a book, well, why are you bringing them up and not some armies that are not getting a book sooner, and so on and so forth. So I understand.
I think that might have been spread too thin between developing Warcry, between doing what is it called, bloody meeting engagement.
The thing that we've already forgotten about. Oh yeah, meeting engagements is a thing. That's right. No, some people might like it. Some people like it. That's cool if you like it. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know anyone that really. I do know people that have played it and enjoyed it, but I don't know of anyone actively in my community that's playing it and enjoying it.
I think it's neat from a tournament stance, but if you're doing it from a tournament stance, because they had that little in tournament primer, and I thought that was the coolest thing they did. But it's usually I know a lot of TOs, and they tend to do their own thing with 1K points anyway.
Yeah.
And so you're giving people a box to stand inside, which is nice for some TOs, but a lot of the TOs I know are they're doing a lot of creative stuff with the non-2K formats. Pretty much everyone I know is who runs a 1-day event before their big their 2K tournament. They do something creative with that other format already. And so it's did you really need to spend all the time and resources on this other thing, or could you have maybe brought some other stuff up? But that's
I mean, you've got Warcry and Underworlds, right? And they're the best two sort of other
teacher games, yeah.
Use for that.
Yeah, to get people used to just playing rolling dice and comparing stats and stuff. Yeah, and Warcry, I do think the jury's still out on Warcry. Right now it's really hyped up, but can it sustain it like any of these other boxes?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't played it, so I have to reserve my my judgment, to be honest with you. I've seen a lot of people enjoying it. A lot of people have had a lot of fun with it. I mean, back when I played Skirmish, I had a lot of fun with that for 2 or 3 games, and then I was like, okay, well, that was a fun experiment. And now back to Age of Sigmar, because I don't have the time to allocate to both AOS and something like Warcry. But I do want to play it, but mainly from a perspective as it might be something fun that I can just enjoy with my son. And because he wants to play Warhammer all the time. Dad, let's play Warhammer, right? That's the best thing in the world, right? But you come home from work and almost the last thing you want to do is set up the entire table and play actual Warhammer. So you kind of need something that's going to bridge that gap, that's going to be fun and quick to play with him. And I think Warcry might be that. And then you can take it to as competitive or a level as you like. But I think it's a good place.
Well, I mean, my take on it's is a little different from that. It's that my son, he's I want to play Warhammer like you did. I got back from I think it was Midwest Meltdown. He's I want to play the tournament you were just at, and so I came and he set up his Legos on our coffee table, and then I just grabbed dice and I taught him a basic to hit. I taught him a basic initiative roll or what's it called, priority. I taught him a basic priority check, just straight roll off, and I taught him just to roll to hit and roll to and roll to defend basically. So instead of rolling to hit, it was just you roll a die and then have your friend roll a die and whoever's higher hits, and just a really basic thing. And I feel like if you're teaching people how to play Warhammer, you're gonna find a personalized way to bring them into it. The way I learned was by playing my buddy 500 points of my buddy's Lizardman army back in the 90s when I didn't have my whole army. I just he's okay, here you have these 2 units, right? And then he played his 1,500 points, and I played, I played alongside friends. But I was like 12 there. I grasped the game a little better than my 6-year-old. So
Yeah. So at the moment, I've been playing like a hybrid version of Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer, where he basically just picks, 5 models that he wants to play with, and we use the hit and wound system of AOS because it's quite simple. But then the
right,
actual gameplay and how he explores the board, and the board being exactly the same, my coffee table with a bunch of terrain on it, is more like a Dungeons and Dragons sort of scenario where I've got the freedom just to make it a fun game for him, and he searches the terrain and all this sort of stuff, and that's good. But but he really wants to be playing actual Warhammer, and a part of that means following the rules. You know what I
hmm
mean? It really does. So
yes, yes, it does. Yes, it
so
does.
that's why I'm hoping Warcry can be that transition from the kind of free play D&D style Age of Sigmar we play at the moment to, okay, now here's actually a book with some rules that you can read,
Yes.
and let's follow those as we do everything.
And building
So
the
that,
army is a fun part of the game that is left out from that sort of like baby steps teaching someone the game. Whereas Warcry
yeah,
still has like very much an army building thing going on
dynamic,
there. With yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So let's see if it sustains. I like that. I like a lot of the hobby I see on Twitter. I'm loving everybody's models and warbands, and it's a lot of. I'm seeing them all coming together, but it's like again, that's that initial hype wave. I don't know if it's going to sustain. Like, are people going to be riding that wave this time next year, or is it going to just taper off?
Um, I think it's going to stick around. I think some of the hype train will disappear, but I think Warcry is here to stay. To be honest with you, I think it probably is the game that feels that niche the best of all of the sort of mini products that the Games Workshop has brought out, and so I think they've got a good opportunity to continue to sort of develop on it and so forth. And yeah, but I mean, to be honest with you, the one game I just want them to bring back more than anything is bloody Heroes Quest, right?
That's damn true. Yeah,
Right, like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
yeah,
damn true. I
yeah,
mean, speaking of D&D Warhammer, the original Chaos Knight look, I'll never forget those models uh, from Hero Quest, and we used to make up our own campaigns and stuff, and that's right about the time I got into Dungeons and Dragons, and I wouldn't have gone that far if I hadn't had Hero Quest. Like
right,
it just lit the fire for everything, you know.
yeah, yep. That's the same for me. It was just me and my brothers, and I've got 2 brothers, and we used to play Heroes Quest nonstop, or what's it called, Space Quest, Space Hulk, whatever it was at the time. And the funny thing is that I played like what is it, Space Hulk, and then for the next 15 years, without knowing Warhammer existed, I fantasized about a huge tabletop game where you had like a whole army of the Space Marines from Space Hulk, not knowing that it actually existed. Um, yeah.
I think that's the other part of the kid brain too, is you just like, okay, Warcry is fun, but you want the big army, like you want
Oh yeah.
the whole thing. So like, it's a neat way to like dip your toe in, but like you want to jump into that pool once you like once the Warhammer bug bites you.
Yeah.
I remember, you know, essentially when I was growing up, I was always still collecting all the way into college until I started playing 40K. I think that's the other Warhammer. For a few years. So I had my Blood Angels army, and like with Warhammer Fantasy, I had always been kind of perpetually collecting. And the day my final model got finished for my Death Army, I was just like, I have arrived. Like, this is what it was always meant to be. And then it's 2 years later now, so here we are. Um,
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go back to these orcs because
yeah,
that's the hot topic, right? So,
right.
um, right. So how it works? Let's just be clear about this. So it is literally 2 books in one, like you said. So, it's everything you need to field an Iron Jaws or a Bone Splitters army, right? So they're still separate in that context as they write it. And then there's a third inclusion of how you can field them both as a combination as a one cohesive army. And so that is excellent because if you're an orcist and you're a purist, you can just say, no, I don't want any. bone splitters involved. I don't even want them wrapped into my army. You be your Iron Jaws or you be your bone splitters or whatever. And it says here, both factions, so still as separate factions, not all just merged as one faction,
Yep.
two distinct separate factions, but in the one book, both of them receive improved allegiance abilities. Now, if they are improving on the Iron Jaws allegiance ability already, then holy shit, we're in
No.
for a world of trouble.
Well, one of the first, the Mad as Hell is right there, like right out the gates is the very next one they list. At the end of any phase, if any wounds or mortal wounds have been inflicted in that phase on an Iron Jaws unit that is more than 9 inches from an enemy unit, that Iron Jaws unit can move D6. Like, they already have yet more ways to get across the table now.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Like, as a don't worry, Mod Tribes is gonna come out with one set of abilities, not one set of abilities in the GHB, and then say "King me" and have another set of abilities on top of it.
I mean, if this is the if this is the all I say, if this is sort of like the template of what's coming out for all the different books, and we've already seen a bit of a sneak peek into Cities of Sigmar, which looks excellent as well, then I can kind of relax a little bit about more tribes because there's going to be some crazy shit in there, and it should be good. But this Mad as Hell rule is so strong, so strong. So I can just think now. I'm thinking, okay, I've got this unit or this model, like enemy unit, on an objective. I need to take it out. I need to do some damage to it, whittle it down, and then charge into it, right, and take that objective. So you go, okay, I'm going to shoot at it. You shoot at it. It moves 3 or 4 inches away, still within 6 of the objective, and now you've got an extra, 3 or 4 inches on your charge. You fail. That's game winning right there.
Note that it doesn't say move toward the enemy unit. It's a D6 move. You can move a D6 inches away. Yeah.
Yeah. You're gonna do that more than almost anything else because you can already move so fast when you want to.
Right.
That it's gonna be so good just for putting that distance. Even like, okay, I hit him with one spell, do some damage. Now I want to shoot him off. At the end of the hero phase, he moves backwards out of range of shooting. Oh shit, like your whole game plan just goes out the window. So there's gonna be a lot of running away orcs, which is cunning before brutal, so it's okay.
All right. Yeah. I'm sorry. Reflex dog training here is trying to get me to talk about how much Rob loves Skaven. That's a different podcast, though. But yes, apparently Rob loves Skaven.
Well, I'm working on Skaven right now, and I'm taking Skaven to my next tournament, so we can talk about Skaven.
You're not supposed to spoil your next tournament. You're supposed to show up in secret. No,
it's fine.
No, so like they already have yet like another allegiance ability here, and it says specifically Iron Jaws, so it's not like this is the Mega Waw, like this Mega Waw, this Big Waw new version of the combined forces. It says Iron Jaws, so like they're already, and then looks like it says sub factions of Iron Jaws, and then Iron Sons. Yeah, Iron Sons was a battalion before, was it not?
Yes. Yeah, so like Bloodtooths and Iron Sons, which were your big mega battalions, which used to get you down.
So they're getting Sylvaneth.
Yeah, that's right. Well, they're getting. I bet you it's going to be more like Hagnar or something.
They're getting a little Sylvaneth thing where like the Sylvaneth lost its mega battalions and they rolled them into their like pseudo enclave type things, enclaves, temples, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I hate Sylvaneth so much.
Why is that? Because like your bases pretty much can't fit through those damn trees.
Oh man, I just have like PTSD from trying to move my little models through those trees and like them falling over left, right, and center, and then I try to pick them up and I'm getting tangled in crap, and then we go, okay, let's just take the trees out. So we take the trees out, and now the whole thing just looks stupid. And then on top of that, it all starts exploding on me, and I'm like, well, that was fun.
Right, yeah, right. One of my friends, Sam. He's the third friend between Joe, myself, and well, I guess other Andrew, and then there's Sam. He plays Sylvaneth, and he's still. Yeah. I haven't lost to him yet, but I
should. Yeah, I should say in the interest of you not getting downvotes, I only hate Sylvaneth. I only hate Sylvaneth for fun.
No.
I actually love the army. Like aesthetically on the table, it looks beautiful, and thematically, I love where it is. It's just that sometimes frustrating gameplay that I like to over embellish for the sake of entertainment that gets me
I do the same thing,
a bit riled up.
and don't worry about the downvotes. If someone hears a single comment and decides like, "Ugh, this entire 2 hour video is fucking garbage" because of that one comment, fuck them,
Wow.
fuck them.
Well, well, it wouldn't. It probably wouldn't be the one comment that made it garbage. It would probably be the fact it is actual garbage. But you
Right,
know,
right.
you
Well,
got me
sure,
on it.
sure,
Because
sure.
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you can tee off on whatever you want. Uh, warning for the viewer: the views of Doom and Darkness, Mr. Michael Sale, do not reflect those of me, because my views are much worse. I hate you all.
Right.
So yeah, they say like they're getting expanded allegiance abilities, which is just twisting that deadly as ever knife, isn't it? That's gotta really suck.
Yeah, but Iron Jaws are sitting on my shelf, and they're probably like my third favorite army in the game.
So what's the second
I
favorite
love.
army? What's the second favorite army then? Sorry, this is
Oh,
a
we'll see. All right. So we're gonna
number
digress.
one is number one is the Mighty Guts.
Yeah. So number one is the Mighty Guts, and number two is
Is it Skaven?
uh, right. So it's like Beast of Chaos and Skaven sort of combined sitting side by side. And if
Okay.
only I had a way to merge those two armies, I'd be in heaven. But yeah, they do have a bit of a
See,
it's just chaos. It's just that bestial version of chaos that I love the most. And
it makes the most sense to me.
get away from those four big gods and all
It
that
makes the
kind
most
of
sense to
crap.
me. Yeah, Beasts of Chaos are my second army as well. My second favorite army. It's the like fuck you like that I really like about them. If that makes sense, like they actually think you're a pansy if you worship the Chaos Gods, because like you shouldn't worship a Chaos God. You take the power, and if they don't give it to you, fuck them. Like that's the Beasts of Chaos mentality. I love it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Beasts have already lost their souls, right? They don't get any rewards from the Chaos Gods anymore. The Chaos Gods took their souls a long time ago. They own them completely, and so they just are what they are. They are just destruction and despoiling and just like ruination, right? And feral and sadistic and just rutting and just like it's just good. It's just bestial and I love the way they fight as well. Like ambushing in, coming from all directions. You wipe one out, and the next thing another unit's on your objective. I just think it's a really cool play style. It fits the narrative, and it's really good as well. And then Skaven, on the other hand, is just like every time I think about them, like Duhas from Ramstein starts playing in my head,
Oh yeah.
and yeah, and it's just like, oh, I love it. And the Horn Rat's in there trying to usurp everyone and just fuck the other Chaos
I
Gods.
hear
And
Black Sabbath when I play Beast of Chaos, like old
all
school
right, yeah,
Black Sabbath, like all the whole time, just like Ozzy or even Dio when Dio was on Sabbath. They had some great tunes.
I guess I can see like War Pigs just coming in my head as soon as I look at
Hmm.
Beasts for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
Warpix just like cranks up.
can we just stay on topic or what? Because we're talking about Iron Suns
Yeah,
and cunning,
yeah.
right? So
Iron
so let's
Sun's
go back there.
right. So what this is telling me is that we might not see mega battalions going forward, or we might see new mega battalions because
Yeah,
so this
I don't
is
think we see any.
I don't think AOS wants mega battalions in it so much. If that maybe that's a
Well,
little hot takey, but not at 2K points, you know.
I think they want to um, they be more considered with where they put the one drop battalions. So, for example, Beasts of Chaos with their battalions, they're very much intentional. I think they've sort of said, well, there are some limitations to this army, so let's allow you to copy and paste it into um, any of the other Chaos factions, and we'll reward you with a one drop as well. But I think probably things like Iron Jaws or whatever it is probably want you to be more realistically around the 5 or 6 drops with a
Right.
battalion, and also it works into limiting the number of command points as well and command point generation. So I think it's an intentional direction, and it's better to have, well, instead of this person just taking 2 battalions, they can take a battalion and a temple for free. and get a bonus that way.
Right.
But their drops are still higher. So I like that as well as a direction to go.
We're on the same page with that. I think it's just
Yeah.
like if you're gonna be the one drop army, it should pretty much be your one thing. You know, like that's such a powerful effect in and of itself that
Yep.
it's worth a full faction ability. You know, so
Yeah, sure.
So then, and then they go into the Bone Splitters, and the Bone Splitters is where they spoil, I think, the most rules. Here is to just really say we did rework the Bone Splitters. They're doubling down on they're the OG monster hunters.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
so you've got the tireless trackers after they're set up before the first battle round begins. Half of your units can move up to 5 inches.
Yep. Awesome.
Oh, those big stabbers, hop, 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 just like across the field. All right.
Yep.
War paint. So they maintain their naked baby save because you've got to have one if you're naked. You get a death save. This is a rule. So
I mean, tireless trackers is really super powerful because firstly, it lets you protect from alpha strikes straight away. Especially if you have battalions in your low drop, but even if you're not, even if you're a high drop, right? Because before the first battle round, so what you do is you set up your army and you can just use 2 units of 10, like whatever throwaway units you have, and it's like gutter runners or whatever it is, or
what I use raiders for? Yeah, what I use raiders for. Yep.
Yeah, and it just gives you that buffer to if your opponent outdrops you, they can't just come straight in and smash your lines, and especially things like bloodthirsters with exploding axes, anything that can pile in twice with 6-inch range. It just gives you that complete layer of protection. But on top of that, not only that, but it allows you to so you move up that 5 inches, right? You're 5 inches closer to the objective just with your little shitty units, and then in your turn, you can then run them right on up onto the middle objectives, but on your opponent's side of the objectives, move up a unit behind that, and it gives you another full layer to either secure that objective, or alternatively to counter once they charge. So it's just super powerful on how the game plays out as well. So tireless trackers seems like a small buff. I mean, it's anything that buffs movement is always super strong because
Speed
movement's so
kills.
important.
Speed kills,
Yeah,
man.
but this is just it has much more impact than simply that. And the war paint is just the war paint. 6-up is a nice to have, but
You're
probably
not.
not here nor there.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, the death saves on my skeletons isn't what makes them great. It's the regen. The one final thing about kind of like this. This is another way which I think tireless trackers and these sort of like pre-combat movements are very good is some of the deployments have gotten pretty congested with the new battle plans. They're going to give you a little bit of space because you can frontline those guys and you know that they're not going to be like right in your grill to start, so you get a little breathing room in those tight deployments that you need. So that 5 inches is already protecting that getting a unit activated that you didn't want to get activated or pinned or whatever against God Seekers or whoever. So
no, absolutely.
So Warpaint. And then Monster Hunters, duct taping 3 abilities into 1. If a friendly Bone Splitters unit is within 3 of an enemy monster, when it is chosen to fight, before it piles in, you can pick one of the following abilities until the end of that phase. So, pretty particular when it works. And then you can choose 1 of 3 things. Add 1 to hit rolls. Seems pretty good. The pile-in is going to be situational. It's not activate from 6 inches, so it's it's
no. But why it's so good is because when you're fighting a monster and it's your unit against that big monster base, so you can pile in an extra 3, right?
You get a wrap around that ass.
Yeah, you can just slide all the way around that base and get all your guys
just
in.
Get that ass. It's true. Yeah, you want.
That's going to make that it will make a big difference on bringing that guy down.
Especially,
it would make a big impact, like a big difference when you really got to bring down that Chimera or Gorgon, right? Because they're having such a big impact.
Oh yeah, they're so huge. They're the best units in the game right now. No, it's like the one of the big ones is like a classic tactic is to take your in my case it's always a vampire Vlazda, and you want to tag the thin end of the unit so they have fewer swing back attacks. If I do that to you, you're going to choose the 3-inch pile-in, right? An additional 3-inch pile-in, so you can crowd up on me. Yep. So it's Yeah, and then +1 to hit. So if you've already got all of them, all the models in, you've spread out, you've done your due diligence, you've got the charge, you're gonna probably choose that one, and then if it's kind of doubling down on the fuck you to ethereal here with berserker strength, which is you get that one mortal wound in addition to your other damage. So that mortal wound there is
Well, I mean, if you're using big stabbers, for example, you're probably not going to use the mortal wounds, right?
your weight of dice is where
Um,
you're gonna use that.
yeah, that's right. But if you've got something that no rend or whatever, and you're fighting the Ethereal Vampire Lord, then we're going to be fishing for those sixes. And like I just can't stress enough, like units of the boar boys, like the boar riding savage orcs, they have a ton of attacks, like a ton of attacks, and berserk strength. I mean, this is going to be they're going to do quite a few mortal wounds.
Yeah,
So
just go crit
um,
fishing.
look out, yeah.
uh, Anything more to add on that? Just
No,
it's
like it's all good. Like it's just honestly, it's all good, and there's no negatives here. I can't see nothing here is so ridiculously overpowered. Everything here fits in with. I just wanted to see unmodified rule. Yep. So the wording is fine, and it fits in with the lore of what these guys are meant to do. If you're playing against them and you've got vermin lords and stuff like that, you're gonna be like, oh shit, hang on, this is a new dynamic now. This is gonna be more difficult for me to deal with, and that makes for a fun game, I think. So, no, Monster Hunters is cool.
these monster focused abilities have the same problem I have with any ability like it, which is its niche.
Yep.
But they've put enough other stuff into the previous Allegiant abilities with the movement and the war paint, that like it's all right to have some niche flavorful stuff, especially if you're duct taping three things onto it instead of just one. Like if this was add one to hit rolls for your monster hunters,
Yeah.
you'd want to vomit blood. That's terrible. But
Yeah.
it's three things, and you're going to choose situationally the best one. It just shores up. It makes that monster unit in the other person's army just have to kind of play a little bit more honest game, which is really what you want as a as
I guess the only downside of this is how often is it that you play against monsters, right? So if you're coming up against a chaos faction, then they pretty much always have a monster in there. Like all of the
your
chaos faction
keepers,
have
your
yep,
yep,
Lord of
your
Change, whatever
or
it is,
yep.
your Vermin Lord Deceivers. So there's always monsters there. There's
Not
probably
in
not
Beasts of
as
Chaos for some fucking
no,
reason.
not
We don't
not
have
not
monsters. I guess.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that chimeras are going to get, just sit on chimeras for a little while,
Well,
and I
you'd
reckon they're
summon
going.
them in the back. Like they're really good. That thing you summon in the back line. I've really been on all herd lately. Like just
Right.
grinding out that chimera. But like honestly, it could just be Bestigors instead. Like who gives a shit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like who gives a shit? Um,
Yeah.
so it's yeah. I mean,
But Daughters of Cain don't run monsters
is the
apart from
cauldron
Marathi.
the cauldron's not a
No,
monster.
the Cauldron's not a
The
monster.
cauldron's not a monster, so it's just Marathi
So
when she transforms.
yeah, Stormcast Eternals, like very rarely to see a Star Drake. Like some people still run Star Drakes, and Star Drakes are still good, but they're probably the lesser seen option at the moment. Like you got to be a bit of a Stormcast hips to be pushing around a Star Drake in these times. John McGrath talking to you. Uh,
Shots fired.
yeah, but no, it's cool. He's just trying something that's different, and that's what he always tries to do, and it actually works. He's just proving that they're still good, but they're a bit of a rarity at the moment. So, there are going to certainly be. I think for the most part, you're going to be in a situation where there is a monster on the board, but there are certainly going to be those matchups where you're like, shit, my army is so good at killing monsters, and there are none here.
Yeah, and you've got these abilities that turn off, and that's always like the feels bad moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the counter argument to that is that most of those armies, a high volume of attacks is generally good against. Um, so your army's still going to be able to mix it up with them, but
Well, here's a little counterpoint.
yeah,
You this actually works. So like everything I think whenever I see a battle tome come out, I always think about the mirror match. And
right,
with this double book, you're in a bit of a weird predicament in terms of the mirror match because you have two different armies that you could potentially be seeing. Uh, does this sure up with the 5 inch movement and stuff? Is Games Workshop saying Bone Splitter's got game against Iron Jaws? Is that what they're doing
Yeah,
here?
yeah, they sure do.
Because you're you're
Absolutely.
you're pushing because you can screen against the alpha and the big wall. You're outside of
Yeah,
that initial sort of 4 inches, and I mean 1 inch back, boom, that 5 inches gives you the 6 inches you want to avoid the smashing and bashing on
yeah.
the really good smashing and bashing activations and stuff. Like, um, I I think this is a little self-loathing here. I think this is a little greenskin on greenskin violence.
Yeah, but let's not like jump to any assumptions or in any way come to the conclusion that bone splitters are better than iron jaws, because iron jaws are the best, and they're the best orc. They always will be. And
Well,
I challenge anyone out there to prove me wrong. Throw
du-
down.
it's the
Um,
best, isn't it? It's
yeah, it is the best.
the
That's right.
best. Yeah, yeah. Like, I don't speak destruction very well, but I understand that one.
Well, I
So
don't know. You're almost there.
I play. I'm a death player with the soul of a destruction player is what it is, and that's where like Beasts of Chaos are like my jam because it's me being able to play destruction without having to play like orcs or goblins. Like it's
Yeah.
I'm allowed to just play the thing that runs forward and smashes face and has a bunch of like you know badass destructive forces and stuff. Um, so then we got Strength of Purpose. We already went over that. I don't think we need to go over it again, apart from the fact that
No.
I really want to hammer home that this says Drakfoot, and I think that shows some design implications there.
Right.
Um, Bring It On, which I haven't personally read yet, so let's read it together. Enemy units within 12 inches of a friendly Bone Grinds unit at the start of their charge phase must attempt to charge and must make a charge move if it is possible for them to do so. In addition, any enemy unit within 3 inches of a friendly Bone Grinds unit cannot retreat. So, okay. All
Right.
right. All right. So
So
you're
Bone Grinds is a new orc app where orcs can register themselves and find other orcs within a vicinity to meet up for um, bit of sensational interaction.
like this is more yeah like
It's grinder for orcs.
it's grinder for orcs is what it is.
No, this is actually super
This is
powerful.
this is board control. This is giving
Yeah,
you some.
this is insane because you can pull your enemy off objectives and preventing enemies from retreating. I've lost at tournaments. I've lost like 3 or 4 games because I haven't been able to retreat out of a combat onto an objective to win the game.
Yep. Yep, or retreat to shore up an objective where like you see that like unit of Kinnerai come down the unit of 5 and you're like, I'm locked in this combat. I thought the Kinnerai were dropping over here to do this thing. Oh nope, they came down here. I'm gonna retreat to shore up the bodies here to make sure that they can't shoot me off of it and then fly
Yeah,
onto it.
but even with that, like in a game I just had against Daughters of Cain, so I had 5 Wrathmongers sitting on an objective, right? He brings down 10 Heartrenders, and then he's like, I don't want to charge you, because if I charge in, you'll explode them, and you'll hold the objective. I'm just going to move up and burn it, right? But if this was the case, but I was playing Bone Splitters, he couldn't. He'd come down and have to charge you. You could kill him. He wouldn't secure the objective. Right,
Oh
like
yeah.
it's so good. It's
Well,
absolutely
it's like
so
giving
good.
you for those like super killer units that people try to avoid combat with.
Yep.
It's giving you a free charge. You're like, I want to be in combat anyway. This is the
Yeah.
thing I was saying about like Fire Slayers being like low key good is like is like if you charge them, you've done what they've wanted you to do in the first place, which is give them 12-inch movement, except the ground moves underneath them and you come to them.
This is insane. Like, actually, if you combine this,
Could
if
you
you can
imagine
combine
if
with
could you imagine?
tireless trackers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So, so you move half your army that free 5 inches, and then you use a command point to run one of your units, an extra 6, and you move a certain like unit or units from your army up so that where a good say half of your enemy's deployment zone is within 12 inches of that unit. Like they have to charge and complete the charge if they can. They have to. So
Mhm.
this means like my Thanquol on Bone Ripper, my Storm Fiends, all of that stuff has to do a charge. Now I guess there's going to be some sort of weird fuckery with players this, and they're going to say, well, I'm going to charge with my Storm Fiends first, they're stuck behind these walls of chaff, so they can't actually complete the charge. So, that's done, can't do it, and it's done. So there's going to be that sort of weird dynamic, which I don't like. But there are going to be opportunities where you're going to be able to suck half of your opponent out of their deployment phase and out of their castle, bring them out of their castle, into your chaff screens, and then just countercharge.
Well, see,
And
this also
oh god,
compensates for one of the weaknesses you have as an army, which is a lack of flying. If you force them to charge into uncompromised situations, they're going to create gaps in their screen walls that you can move your fast stuff through your pigs, and it's going to give your Maw Crusher some extra space to land that pie plate. So you're gonna create some situations like that. Now it says that they must make a charge move if it is possible. It doesn't say you have to move every unit that charges, so they could still do a thing where they string out and they charge, a single unit close to closest and within half, and then just daisy chain it back. So there's still.
No, that's right. Yeah.
So there's still. It's still not like super. It's not. It doesn't say like every unit must move as far as it's possible or every model must move as far as. So they can still do some daisy chaining and stuff, and they could maybe even there. I can see some situations where they can use this against you, where like. For instance, like with big blocks like my skeletons is like now, oh cool, I just get to build the perfect amoeba now. Like, yeah. But the thing I hate about a rule like this is just a fundamental, just one of the things I hate in a game. You should never feel bad for rolling 12 on 2d6. You are going to create a situation where someone feels bad for rolling 12 on 2d6. Furthermore, they're going to be riding home in their fucking car, and they're going to be like, the only boxcars I rolled all fucking day was to get pulled out of my own deployment. Against pulled off an objective from fucking bone grins. Like
Yeah, I mean it means you just get to pick. Like, you think about if you have Bone Splitters don't have a resilient monster, so that's it. But I'm just thinking, like, if you pull a Star Drake, for example, off somewhere into a combat that he can't win quickly, that he can't retreat from, right? Like, you take 500 points out of the game where you want it. Oh, yeah. You run small units up the flanks of the board and start pulling shit sideways, right?
Oh, that's and you're gonna.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So this is cool. This
bone
is really,
grins
really
or bone grinder.
Yeah.
This isn't bad. It could be like this. Yeah, like Joel McGrath says.
Like, what does Joel say? I can't see the chat.
Joel says that could be really beneficial to your opponent too. Say Slanesh super fast, can't run and charge on their heavier hitters. They can now get in your grill super easily.
Well,
enemy units within 12 at the start of their charge phase must attempt to charge. So I'm already seeing an FAQ thing. What if you can't run and charge and you ran that unit? Must it charge?
Right. Well, no, you can't because you.
So you can't charge. So like if I just run at you, I can counter this Bone Grin's ability.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So there's some counterplay for it, but I still think it's pretty sweet. I like that it does two things as well. When you do something that's situationally good, you should do something that's reliably good. Like situationally good 12-inch, reliably good can't retreat. Like
can't retreat. Yep.
Yep. So whenever you duct tape abilities together, I like that. I think Games Workshop's head is getting in the correct direction for some of the rules writing with stuff like this.
I mean, the trade-off for all of this stuff is that the traditional cunning ruck and things like that are hopefully gone and out the window, right?
What's that?
Well, the trade-off for all these excellent rules is that what you had previously, which is rolling 10 buckets of dice with a cunning ruck, is going to be gone.
Theoretically, right? Like.
Yeah. Well, I've heard it's changed, but
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. I didn't see anything in here. So then the Big Wall. This is where things get really interesting. The Big Wall is a new set of Allegiance abilities that allows you to combine Bone Splitters and Iron Jaws in one unstoppable horde. Charge up with the devastating energies of the Wall itself. Alright, so with this army, you'll generate Wall point every turn, representing the savage energies of Gorka Morka. And, generate Wall points every turn. So, are you getting your own resource instead of being command point reliant?
Yep, you are getting your own resource. No, well, you're going to have your command points, and you've got a new resource as
So now
well
you've
as your
got a new
specific nice stuff.
so now you've got a new resource. You've got wall
Yep,
points. Okay.
yep, yep.
So I think that's really like the big takeaway here.
So the powerful and unpredictable resource can be generated in several ways. War Chanters, War Dogs, Wargog Prophets all provide WoW points, while particular Orc play will reward you even more as you charge foes and get stuck into your heroes. So, with Nurgle, with contagion points, how for each tree you get D3, for having a unit in your enemy zone, you get an extra 1 or 2 for blah, blah, blah. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the dynamic that we're looking at, where
It's just always going to
so
be crumping, right? Like you just always got to be fighting in a different.
well, I mean, for every like charge you complete, you get X amount of points.
Right.
For your different war chanters and so forth will generate X amount per turn. Destroying a unit will probably give you more or something like that, and then you're going to build them up. The only thing, so it says these then provide cumulative bonuses for your army. As the battle goes on, you get better at smashing stuff with some truly devastating abilities on the table. With Smash 'em, Bash 'em, for instance, even the relatively lowly Ard boys will blend their enemies in close combat. So the thing is that I guess I don't get the impression, but then I'll just skip that table for a second because it says WoW points can also be spent on some nifty abilities. You can sacrifice them to boost your
So
spellcasting.
you must
Um,
there must be a cumulative nature. So if you leave the
yeah,
wall topped off, you do sweet shit. So like here it says 16 smash them. If you have 16 wall points, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made with melee weapons used by friendly Orruk units.
yep.
20 bash them, add 1 to wound rolls, and I'm guessing you get everything because it says cumulative. So at 20 wall, you have 1 to hit and 1 to wound, or you can burn like wall points and do something like ridiculous, right? So
Yeah, that's it. So you basically are building up to Hagnar as if you don't spend them, right?
right.
Because it fits the WoW sort of theme, right? Because the WoW is like in 40k or in fantasy, it's essentially the same thing. In 40k, it's like the psychic power that it emits from orcs as they go into combat, and it just builds and builds and builds. In fantasy, it's the green stuff, the magic, the WoW magic, which just builds and builds around the horde. So the longer you're fighting, the more it builds up, and then it is a permanent effect, and then you use it traditionally with magic to call down a foot of Gork or something like that. But in this instance, you're going to use it, expend it, much like a blood tithe, and do something. But is it powerful? What we can do? What is it? The big wah.
The big wall.
Uh,
So at least 24. So you can use this
yeah,
command ability. But your general needs to be on the battlefield. So look at
yeah.
that already having more counterplay than Slanesh. I'm sorry, continue. See, that was a shots fired at Slanesh. Just kill all their heroes, quote unquote. You only have to kill one hero
All
here.
right.
Easier
Yeah.
counterplay.
I mean, Mega Boss on Maw-Crusher with a Ethereal Amulet, he's not going in. So, but this is interesting. 'Cause the
I
big
have
wah.
I have a hand of dust that disagrees.
Ah, all right, all right.
No,
Nagash.
he's on the shelf. He's on the shelf. No one's gonna see him for like a calendar year.
No, you should just keep him out eternally and be the Nagash
I
guy for the
could
rest.
do that. I could do that. It's fine. I've got some new lists, some new technology. Anyway, so yeah, you can use this command ability at the start of your combat phase if you have a big wall army with at least 24 wall points. I just want to say, well, you seem to be reading here, I really like when rules reflect the army, and they've gotten a lot better at doing that lately. And this is just very much on point.
So
So,
the first thing about this is when you read the Big Wah with the combination of the what are we calling this? Is it green energy? Is it Wah points? It's Wah points. Okay, so um, the fact that the Big Wah is an ability that you spend Wah points on, and what the Big Wah is essentially almost what the command ability for the Mega Bosses used to be. This says to me, because it's going to generate an additional attack, right? But you can't use this command ability more than once. So
per
you can't
phase.
stack this.
Per
Yeah,
phase.
yeah,
So if you can
yeah.
fight in multiple phases, I'm guessing this is going to count for your enemy's combat phase. So you're going to be able to use this in there. So it says you can use this at the start of the combat phase. So you can use this in the enemy combat phase too.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, but you're only adding one attack, right?
Right. Right.
And the Wa which you used to spend command points on to add an additional attack, which was conditional on the amount of units around you and blah blah blah, all the other crap.
Mm-hmm.
But you used to be able to burn multiple command points to
Yeah, to
stack
jackpot
multiple
it.
attacks, right?
Yeah, to
And
play
when
the
I,
slot
I
machine.
look at this, I just see them as taking that dynamic, moving it, and that mechanic, taking away from being something that's command point generated to being war point generated, and then removing the ability to stack it. So I personally don't think,
I
I
don't
think we're
like
going to
this.
see a change to the command ability on the mega bosses. And if we don't see a change to the command ability on the mega bosses, it's going to be a once per use command ability on the mega boss to get a war, which will give you an extra attack, and then you can combine that with the big war to get 2 extra attacks. As like this is all just pure speculation, but this is like a warning sign to me that the command ability on the mega boss is changing.
Well, here's this one thing. Here's bullshit destruction randomness at the end of this ability. They couldn't let this already okay. It's just like situational. You have to build up 24 wall points. I'd imagine it's gonna be actually relatively easy to get those. But like, it's just one attack. You're not jackpotting them anymore. You're not like hoarding all your command points and like throwing like 5 walls out there, 6 walls.
Yeah.
And then it says at the end of any phase in which you use this command ability, you must roll a die. On the 1, reduce the wall points of your army to 0.
Yeah.
On a 2 to 5, halve the wall points for your army. And on a 6, nothing happens. Like, they just couldn't let you continue to have fun.
You have to have random elements of destruction. But all of this so far is starting to indicate a few things. So number one, you've lost your mega battalion, right? Because they've all become temples or enclaves or whatever they are. So
right.
You've lost the command point there already. So you're restricted now straight away to likely 1 battalion plus purchasing 1 extra command point. So likely to start with 2 command points now, as opposed to 3. And then as well, having this ability put in, it sort of indicates, because they wouldn't want to just stack up and keep stacking the same themed thing, right? It seems like a very lazy way to do it. So I think the massive stacking of the wire is gone, is what a lot of people would have predicted as well.
Yeah.
You got the higher drops.
So why rewrite it all in the GHB for like 6 months?
I don't think. Well, yeah. I mean,
for like 6 months to just like to change the whole system.
Yeah. I mean, you can still keep the same command ability where you use your command to fight the hero phase. And to do a move,
right.
That's fine, because you could have, but then I guess you're looking at for your allegiance abilities, you're looking at smashing and bashing, command point to fight in the hero phase and move, and you're looking at the big war as well, or the war points as well. Like, that seems like too many things, doesn't it?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I mean, I you can see the gears turning here for what they're doing with the book. Yeah,
I know what happened.
What's that?
I know what happened.
I think there's a pretty good theory in chat here, but go on.
Yeah. Okay, they wrote an allegiance ability for Gutbusters, which was fight in the hero phase or spend a command point to move. And they're like, this is going to be a great buff to Gutbusters. They sent it off to the editor. He stuffed it up and auto-corrected Gutbusters to Iron Jaws.
That's what happened. That's
the only explanation.
Yeah, that's the only logical explanation.
What's the chat saying? Sorry, I can't see the chat.
No. Chat is basically thinking that is it Ty here is so IJ could have a few. Oh no, that's the reason they got buffed, is so they got changed in the GHB to be changed in the book again, so that they could have a couple top 5 finishes before crashing back to the mud. And then Frank says it's because the releases must have been pushed up. So whatever, like, full future, like maybe IJ or the new IJ stuff was going to come out next year, and so that GHB was supposed to be to hold them over for a full year instead of just like 6 months. But here we are. Here, give me a moment while we put on our tinfoil hat.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't necessarily think that there's that much of a grand plan. I think they just kind of said, well, what are we going to do? We've got this template already written out for an allegiance ability for these guys. Just whack it in there, and we're working on the book anyway. So, and not really put that much thought into it. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I think there's just not a lot of real. I think just everyone was working on other things,
It,
which
it
are
was
all good, awesome other things, and there was nowhere near as much thought invested into the GHB. And when you combine, like the new book that was announced as well, which combines all your battle plans and everything like that, which is kind of essentially what we actually want the GHB to be,
right.
right? So now we have battle tomes updated for everything, so it makes the allegiance section of the GHB obsolete in the next 6 months, and then combine that with a new product which is going to combine all the rules that we need for match play in one book, which is what the GHB should have been anyways. You're sort of left with this book that is like nothing.
So
And
it
what do
makes
we get?
so you're just so like are you saying and like that like the GHB 2019, which already had like I think pretty lukewarm to I know a lot of like my inner circle weren't really pleased with it overall as a book.
Man, it bummed me out so much that I got bloody like
Be,
depressed and all negative on the hobby.
beyond the like deadly like even beyond the like deadly as ever, it just was an inconsistent book. But
Yeah,
like then you look at like these other releases coming down the line, and it's like it makes that book seem even more.
nonsensical.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's
Yeah,
and like all the other stuff, like good, very good, like thumbs up. Like I'm happy for this new battle book that they're talking about.
yeah,
I'm actually I don't play Destruction, so I don't have the inside track on how I should really feel about any of this. I'm looking at it and I like the general like as a person who writes and understands rules and mechanics. Like I like the heart of where they're going with all this stuff. I need to see it all together. I need to see that Maw Crush's ability. I need to see how some of the other Allegiance abilities stick around to see that like you can still play a little bit of the jackpot machine and throw out some really big waws and maybe you have some like micro waws in there or something. I don't know. So like this, I think the litmus test is pretty good on the rest of this stuff, but it's like that book is just even more. It's like they put meeting engagements in it just to justify that book existing.
yeah. No, I agree. And this is going to be the most truly perplexing um, part of the GHB 2019 is that the variation we see for the Iron Jaws Allegiance abilities and how they play in the new book as opposed to what was released in the GHB, because it's only GHB was what 3 months ago now. So we've had 3 months ago of Iron Jaws like loving it and kicking everyone's butt. Um, and then we're going to change that completely, which makes you think, well, what's the point of doing any of it in the first place? So yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. It might just make it. But if you're an Iron Jaws player and you have been for some time, like if you've only been playing them in the last month and a half or 2 months, where you're stacking all the command abilities and you've got the new fantastic allegiance ability, you can fight in the hero phase and so forth, then you might be pissed off when these changes happen. And if they happen and it removes that as an option. But if you've been playing Iron Jaws, like I've had Iron Jaws since, AOS 1, before AOS 1, like when they first came out almost. And so I've seen like this is like the third version of Iron Jaws. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's changed so many times, and the play style has changed, and what you can and can't do, and how they compete in the meta has changed 2 or 3 times. So it's not really anything I'll get upset about. I think I'll just be like, yeah, cool, this is the new thing,
This is the new
and
this is the new Iron Jaws, right? Like
and as long as they run across the table and smash in
Smash.
some form,
Yep.
like that I'm fine.
Yeah, yeah, and I again, I'm not an orc player, and I would defer to any orc players like in insights or how they feel about this. But for the most part, I just and
Yeah,
this transitions right into our next subject, which is just the number of books. Is I'm just pleased with the amount of content they are putting out. Yeah, I could probably do a whole rant cast on the GHB and how I'm just like scratching my head more and more with every book that does come out. But like ignoring that, let's just put the GHB 2019 in a bubble and like we're gonna put the bubble off to the side. We're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna look at that bubble. Um, the num
or I mean, perhaps it's something that we should just never forget, right? We
oh
should
yeah,
make
like
shrines and
hashtag never
monuments to
forget. Yeah,
hashtag never forget GHB
hashtag yeah,
2019.
hashtag never forget. Okay, so we could do it the okay. So like on one side we have the bubble of ignore it, and on the other side there's like just a giant shrine of never forget.
Yeah,
So
like GHB 2019, just as deadly. Never forget. Sorry, lest we forget, which is what we use here for our Anzac Day soldiers. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so that's the end of the Iron Jaws, right?
Yeah, so that's the end of the Iron Jaws. I do like the 2 books in 1 thing because this is a really interesting riff on what started back with Legions of Nagash and what I think is going to kind of end with cities, which is this notion of
Right.
taking a bunch of armies and putting them into a book. And going forward, theoretically, we're going to have just we got to get Seraphon yet. They also deserve a tome. We got to get Maw Tribes is obviously coming. Um,
Well, so on that, I just want to. So, okay, yeah, we combine these 2 factions. We clean up 2 old books and 2 old allegiances in one.
mhm,
We update it and we release it. Fantastic. Cities of
cool.
Sigmar, we do the same thing. Legions of Nagash, we do the same thing.
Ugh.
But Seraphon,
Sorry, Legion of Nagash, we do
I
the
think.
same thing. That was the beta test for the rest of these books, though. It was,
Yeah, that's right.
oh,
I mean,
such a oh man, that book has gotten worse every month that we've gone away from the
wow.
release.
I think it's going to continue to get worse as well because
Well,
from here on,
they've
the
screwed a
death.
whole GA. They've screwed an entire GA based on that book.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was the whole GA is legacy Warhammer, right? Apart from Tomb Kings, it's all the legacy Warhammer, and I think Age of Sigmar for Death moving forward, it's Ossiarch Bone Reapers and new factions like
Night
Nighthaunt, Ossiarch
Haunt.
Bone
Yep,
and so forth.
yep.
Yeah,
That's
I mean,
it.
yep, and I think if I don't think we're going to see um, new releases that flesh out Legions of Nagash. I think we'll see new releases which can be tacked into Legions of Nagash, but I don't think we're going to see new releases specifically targeting Legions of Nagash. I think it's new space all the way.
Night Haunt. It's yeah, exactly. I'm with you there. And so I think that LON book kind of like doomed an entire GA for a few years to come. I'm not doom and gloom about it because I'm really excited for Bone Reapers. If you're not aware, go back and watch the first 2 episodes of RantCast. That's how this whole thing
Yeah.
started. It's just me gushing about. I think in total now, including right now, probably about 12 straight recorded hours of how excited I am for Bone Reapers. So don't read me wrong when I shit on the LON book. I have the ability to assess something as like a book, and then I have my love of a faction, my love of an army, you know? And I think you got to kind
Yeah.
of wear a couple of different hats like that when you're talking stuff like these. So yeah, man, we got active chat tonight.
What's everyone saying? But what I
So
want to say is that
yeah, finish your thought.
Okay, Seraphon is going to be the next old faction, which is released with new models and is its own standalone faction moving forward in AOS. And I think it's going to be absolutely spectacular because I think Seraphon is one of those factions that GW can make new models for that will fit into AOS and will just be absolutely awesome. Like if you think about the what are the big guys from the Moon Clubs called? I can't remember what they're called.
Hmm. I'm sorry, I've been trying to catch up on chat. What were we talking? Oh, he's muted. All right.
Sorry, my wife was just asking me if I'm picking up my son from school.
Oh. All right.
So the answer is yes, I am, but it's not now. So let's
Okay.
continue.
All right. So my question on books coming out in 2019: Maw Tribes, Cities, Orcs, and OSB coming out still this year. What chaos gets released next? I don't know. Who cares?
Oh, no, Zench will be the next to
Zinch.
be
You think Zinch
released.
is all right? So we're
It was
I mean,
cool
you've already
cut,
got Blades of Corn and Slanesh both this year. Was Skaven this
Yep.
year still? Skaven was like January,
sure.
February, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was certainly recent. So yeah, let's say yes.
And then Beast of Chaos was like November last year. It has been rife with releases for Chaos, you greedy Chaos bastard.
Yeah, but Chaos has to be up to date, right? Chaos is the big bad. We need the Chaos factions up to date. We need Everchosen. But I think we're going to see a redo of Zench sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think we're well, and that's the thing is like people have been calling for this Dark Oath Everchosen mega faction thing
Yep.
for Archaon. They got to be saving that for the story thing, and so you're probably going to see Zinch before you see that Dark Oath Everchosen thing, because the way we have the Soul Wars going on right now and stuff, Archaon's just been like sitting on his like hind ass this whole time. Like, no, come on, like, but that's got to be like a malign portent Soul Wars. I think that's got to be like a bigger event.
Yeah, it's a big evolution in the story arc. We still have the Slanesh story arc to unfold, but it's like at the moment we have Zench, which is a book that's like KO, where if you buy the book, most of the spells, the artifacts, the units don't work as the book says. It's like an obsolete product. So it's better to bring that out and update that than it is to bring out a whole new faction while that's still a pile of garbage and just doesn't work. So I think they need to get Zench done, and then they can start moving forward with the new stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So like Chaos Zinch, that's got to be it. So that's a chat question. Is there anything else you wanted to mention on the just the volume of books and kind of like looking forward to it?
Well, only just what we touched on before is that like everyone constantly talks about the meta, and I'm happy to forget about the meta for a little while because it's going to be so hard to predict what's going to happen. We're going to see books that are coming out that are seemingly overpowered or have dynamics like with the activation wars that we all thought, oh, this is horrible, and actually is horrible. But then we're going to see a stream of books coming out that are going to change that. We're going to see factions and books being released that we never ever imagined before. We're going to see new like rule spaces that we haven't operated in before, and it's going to try and change the dynamic of everything continually. And then like Storm Fiends, where everyone focuses on one thing with Skaven, and then all of a sudden, 6 months later, Storm Fiends rear their ugly head. We're going to see that continue to evolve with all the different books that have come out, and I think it's just going to bring Warhammer back to a really awesome space um, where I guess the win averages of a lot of different armies are going to start to even out a little bit more. We're
Mhm.
still going to have those skewed ones that are dominant. It's still going to be an issue because I don't think balance is a real thing, but I think it's just going to bring the whole um, game to a healthier point, and it's going to challenge a lot of people. Where instead of people being able to go, well, what's the strongest thing, or what's the army that is the strongest army at the moment that I can buy because I want to be competitive in tournaments, um, it's going to be a very hard line to pursue because while that is what it is right now for 2 or 3 months, you're going to go spend, $1,000 on a new army to try and have a top meta army. And then in 2 or 3 months, it's going to be poop again because Bone Splitters have been released, or Cities of Sigmar has come out, or even just a new build within Cities of Sigmar has evolved that is complete counter to what you've got. And I think that's a big disincentive for that meta chasing. And I think that overall that's healthy for the hobby. Like, I think that's healthy for the tournament
Well,
scene as well.
you're gonna see people, and I've got to take on new players, but you're gonna see like regular players. They're going to I don't say like meta chasing is always going to be a thing, but you're actually going to have this point in time where you have players who are like, I could chase the meta, or I could like actually like dig my heels in on this army and really like go into it for a year, like swapping like okay, here's build one, okay, you know what, I didn't like this unit of these 10 guys, so I'm going to swap in like this other unit here, and you're going to see this like even within like the sort of like the longer a game goes on, the average skill of the average player increases. So like we see this in like in like everything from Street Fighter to MOBAs and stuff like that. You see the average Magic the Gathering, the average player skill. Now they maintain the same level of like wins, losses, and stuff like that, but their average like knowledge and stuff continues to increase. And so you're going to have these players that are essentially forced to learn their armies better. And I think from that stance, it's a positive for the game. Also, as a new player walking up to this game, we're actually going to be able to, honestly, for once, as a community, say play what you like instead of fucking lying to them.
Yeah. No, yep, absolutely agree. And if you're
like
an Iron Jaws player, like if you're all about the orcs, you can play the shit out of the orcs. And if all of a sudden the meta goes against them, you say, okay, I can supplement it with the bone splitters now to excuse me, to meet that deficiency, and keep playing the faction that essentially you love, but chase the meta within your faction. You can do it with Skaven.
exactly, yeah.
You're absolutely going to be able to do it within Cities of Sigmar. Oh my god, that thing is going to be insane, that book. But yeah, so I just think this is overall heading to a healthier place because the thing about the imbalance in the game, or having only a few armies which have such a high win rate, is that it really does create negativity for me personally when I look at the game that I love and I think, fuck it, why are there these three outstanding armies that are just shitting on everyone? That actually gets to me and really does affect um, my attitude towards the game overall. But when I look out there and I see, you know what, there are 20 bullshit armies. I'm like, cool. Everyone is bullshit. This is a place where I can be happy and be a little bit more accepting of the facts. So yeah,
Well,
it's better for me.
well, this actually goes back to one of like my huge takes that I've always gone to for like a metaphor for like what I think good balance is. Because balance
Yeah,
is, as you point out, like a lie. Like it's impossible to have like perfect balance, but you can always be chasing it a little bit. But if everything's bullshit, nothing's bullshit. Like you create
yeah,
the Three Stooges effect, where like everything, like it's the Three Stooges all trying to get through the doorway at the same time. It's just like
yeah,
everything is bullshit and they can't all fit through the door.
yeah. And I mean, like I said before, you're still going to have complete imbalance within that dynamic where you do show up to a tabletop, you get your hard counter, and you get hammered, and it just seems like ridiculous and unbalanced. But I think when it plays out across 1,000 games across 10 tournaments, for 100 odd people, you're going to find that everyone has that same experience in a way. So you're going to get mixed matches which seem unbalanced, but on the overall scale, it's such a fat middle that there are those counters in play. So
It's the a little bit like the football effect in there's so few games of American football, we get 16, right? That it's called any given Sunday, right? Like any team can win on any given Sunday, even if you're like, because there's enough sort of parity that's being achieved via this like sort of dilution. You're diluting the power across a bunch of armies now instead of like just three armies and then everything else is outdated and shit. Like,
yep, yep, absolutely.
yeah. Yeah, I
Right.
look forward to this. Is I said on Warhammer Weekly, like this is the meta I've looked forward to the most in like what 3 GHBs for me of Age of Sigmar. So a
Yeah,
relatively small sample size compared to you and a lot of the others, but it's like I've fast fallen in love with this game, and this is where I kind of want to this next 6 months is the most exciting to me. This is what I want to see.
yeah.
I
On top of how it impacts the meta, the other thing is that like for the last 2 years or 3 years, so many people have had a focus on when are you going to update my army? When are you going to bring all the old legacy stuff up to date with Age of Sigmar, right? So you're constantly thinking about when is this already existing thing going to get updated? That's such a big focus. And they're so close to doing it that the focus is now shifting from not when is my existing old stuff going to get updated, but what are they going to do next? And so your focus very much shifts on when is the new stuff going to come out, and everyone is looking forward instead of looking backwards. And that is the best place for the game and for the company overall, I think, where all the existing player base is just looking forwards, not looking backwards, and it helps people that are still hooked move on from those Warhammer Fantasy days as well.
yeah, and they finally sort of stopped. I got a take. I'm going to save until we do the city. We do the city's cast in 2 days already. Jesus. But basically, I don't mind self plagiarizing. So I think there's a danger in catering to people who still want Warhammer Fantasy Battle. That being
Oh,
said,
absolutely.
I do because like I maybe I was aberrant, and one of the reasons I got like super pumped. My favorite character is Nagash, and has been since Warhammer Fantasy, since that stupid, terrible model, that
Right.
horrible, horrible, big cheeked, big boned model, the original Bone
The,
Daddy. Like,
the clown guy.
what's that?
The clown guy.
Yeah, you all know the terrible model. Like, I loved the lore where he like stole, like humans weren't allowed to have magic, so he stole magic from the elves, and like I fell in love with that guy, and so I need to establish my OG cred for the Warhammer Fantasy Battle people watching. But when they announced Ossiarch Bone Reapers, I was like, hell yeah, I want the new thing. Like I just my love for Nagash, like Nagash himself, is eternal. I will always love that model. Nothing you do with this game will ever change how every great memory I have in Warhammer Fantasy Battle all the friends I made along the way, and everything along those lines. But when I came to Age of Sigmar because, and I'm going to steal Frank's take here, it is a fantasy game of a fantasy game. It's like, it's gotten even more absurd, and I love that about it. Like, I like when they take an army and they look at it sideways and go, what does this look like in the mortal realms? And KO is usually like the poster child for this take, which is, KO is like, let's take dwarves. Yeah, but we don't want like your standard grumpy dwarves. Let's look at it sideways. Oh shit, they're hyper capitalist space pirates. Like, like when you do that, and like they did that with the bone reapers too, where they're like, what would like the new death bone rattly stuff? Oh, they'd be fucking bone constructs, and they'd all have like war masks, like fucking Japanese samurai style, that have these exaggerated facial expressions because Nagash himself is mocking Sigmar's like Stormcast Eternals. It's a very Age of Sigmar army, and I like them doing that.
So,
but
I'm gonna.
But
all right, but
but bring everybody into the game first, and they're doing that.
Yeah.
Go
So
on.
I sort of I'll just push back on it a little bit because I mean all what you said is true and all what you said I love as well. But I came into Warhammer from a D&D, right? I grew up playing D&D
Same.
my whole life, and with all my brothers, it was like the best memories of my life playing D&D with my mates. And then when I was in the army, some mate said to me, "Hey, let's play this Warhammer thing." And okay, so I went down looking for a Warhammer army, and with a Forgotten Realms world in my head already. So I wanted to find an army that best represented what I loved already from that. So I'm looking for orcs, ogres, whatever it is. But
Yep.
instead, I was seeing Skaven and I mean Skaven like were rats, whatever. Like I'm sure there's an analogy there. But the Empire from Warhammer doesn't really fit with the civilizations of the Forgotten Realm, right? Because one's like Europe and whatever else. So I didn't actually like a lot of the Warhammer armies.
Original Warhammer, right? Like fantasy.
Yeah, Warhammer Fantasy. And that's one of the reasons why I went to playing ogres first, because they were the closest faction to actually ogres in, say, D&D.
Well,
right? So I could cross over.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that bridge.
And one thing that I still want more than anything is almost that traditional representation of medieval and fantasy worlds in Warhammer. Like, I want to be able to play a Lizardman army that is like D&D Lizardmen as opposed to Seraphon. But I want everything. That's my problem.
I think you're going to get everything.
I want that new super high fantasy, crazy, everything taken to the nine. But I still want to play an army that really just triggers that 20 years of awesome fantasy experience playing D&D growing up. So I really do want that blend, and I don't want it to move so far away that for a lot of people that probably had a traditional fantasy upbringing to come and then look at the army and not be able to relate because everything is so different.
That's a perfect caveat to my long tirade there. No, D&D was my gateway drug into like all nerdery. I play video games because I can't always have people to run through a D&D session, and I played Warhammer because like I went over to my friend's house to play D&D and I looked on a shelf and he had high elves sitting right there and I went, what are those?
See, like high elves still blend in that setting, but they're elves, so
yeah. Well, and then that's when I'm like, well, which army do you have that's like Castlevania the army? Oh shit, like fucking pre Tomb King Castlevania, time to play undead, baby. So like that was my end too, and just going back to Hero Quest real quick. Hero Quest also it inhabited that same period in time, and it really was just like D&D, Hero Quest, Warhammer, and you just have this direct line from D&D to Hero Quest all the way into Warhammer, and that's cool. And just to kind of wrap up what you said, I think the Cities book, and this is where I've been saying on Twitter for weeks and months, I think the Cities book is the most important book because I think it's going to show that lineage better than anything possibly could. In a way, they have an opportunity here to really fuck it up, first of all. I'm going to be optimistic, cautiously optimistic. They also have an opportunity here to just crush a home run. Meta implications, sure, but really that thread from D&D all the way up, from the world that was all the way up. You're going to be able to look at the like, you're going to be able to look at every city's army that every person's coming out with, and you're going to be able to go, I see how you got into this game. You know, like, you're going to be able to go, I see you, I can see your nerd on your sleeve.
Yeah. I think for Cities of Sigmar, if people are out there hoping just that Cities of Sigmar is in some way going to recreate what you had of those armies in fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy, you're going to be really disappointed, and it's going to be upsetting for you. But I think but apart from that, I completely agree with you. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's one of the most important books in the release schedule. I think it brings so many people back into the fold. I think it gives so many people opportunity to use the models that they've had for a long time, they still love and they want to use. But I think but if you expect it still to be high elves, or you expect it still to be wood elves or dark elves,
Right.
I think you might be disappointed if that's what you really want. Because sure, you're going to be able to make a whole new thing using those models, and that's going to be excellent.
But you
Like
might
for me,
lose.
I like
Go ahead.
yeah, like I love the dark elves. I love wanderers, and really that's about it, right? So if I can combine dark elves and wanderers into one faction, which I think the models look well enough to do in Cities of Sigmar, that's excellent.
Make
But I don't want
executioners.
it to be dark elves. I want it to be a new
Yeah.
thing.
Well,
I'm
see, and,
okay
and
with
that's where I want to see that. I want to see the Bone Reaper Dark Elves. Like, I want to see what Age of Sigmar new Dark Elves look like, and I want to see the Bone Reapers or the KOified High Elves. Like, I really want to see those Logic Elf angelic beings that are from Hish or whatever.
well,
I want to see what that looks like, but I'm happy that they have that bridge from the old to the new. I think that they're able to extend
yeah.
that.
I mean,
You might have to lose a little bit of your identity in the process, but at least you still get to play with your toys.
yeah, I mean, just get the old legacy stuff out the way, bring it all up to date, and then we can bring out the angelic elves and stuff like that moving forward, and the new elves, the half dragon elves, the crazy stuff of the future, and it's all going to be awesome. And if you don't like that, well, you still got bloody pikemen with cod pieces and feathers in their hat to float your boat if that what gets you off.
And it is what gets me off. But so you said you kind of teetered on mentioning something there when you were talking about D&D and Skaven, and so I just wanted
Right.
to real quick nail this tangent before we move
Okay.
on, which is so when I saw like so I came in at I use D&D as shorthand for a bunch of more obscure RPGs, so I need to mention that real quick. Is like I played a Palladium fantasy role playing game. It was actually my first game. Well, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the role playing game by Palladium Books, and then that was. And I'd only played D&D once, but it was like actually the Palladium Books. I always use D&D as shorthand, so I don't have to explain that. But I've had
Sure.
a single glass of wine, so there we go.
So,
Um,
so you just went and explained it.
yeah, so I went and explained it. But Skaven, coming at it from like a tabletop RPG, I looked at Skaven and I went, man, this is like the most unique thing in this IP they have is Skaven. In terms of
Yeah.
like, you
That is
talked
true.
about that Forgotten Realms, like you want the Forgotten Realms of the Living Greyhawk, like what fantasy orcs are or whatever, and then you look at what Warhammer orcs and Warhammer fantasy things are, and you're like, these are a little bit different. But I saw Skaven, I'm like,
Yeah.
Skaven are really freaking cool. And it
Yeah.
dawned on me why Skaven from a European company would be this absolute scourge unique idea. They had to deal with the fucking plague. And over here, we didn't.
Yeah.
So of course rat men would become like this like completely unique stealth idea.
Yep, no, rat men were one of the most unique things. I mean, when I looked at it, it was going to be Gaven, Tomb Kings, or ogres, which was my first army that I dipped into. Ended up going with ogres, but that's after swinging 3 times between Skaven or Tomb Kings. So no, they are very unique, and they're a cool little faction. They've got a good lore, they've got a good place in the world, and yeah, everything about them's awesome and fantastic.
Right on. So I think that brings us to like kind of like just the final segment here, which is
Okay, mate.
we were one of the things, and I gotta kind of give you props because I know you you kind of wanted to see this thing happen too, this RantCast, and it all comes at it from like a place of pure passion. Like I've recently identified that the reason I can't contain all these other subjects with Age of Sigmar is because for me Age of Sigmar is bigger than just a game. It's become kind of a lifestyle, and it's the way I like to say it is Age of Sigmar is where all the voices in my head come together and play. Like, I've got the, like, video game voice in my head, and I've got the D&D voice in my head and stuff like that, but Age of Sigmar is where, like, all these voices get to come together and play. Do you have any... I just wrote down life, but I feel like in the pre-show we were kind of talking about, like, this sort of concept of, like, Age of Sigmar is life. Like, that's... It's just... It's bigger than just a game for a lot of us. It takes over, obviously, your shelves. It has a... Whereas D&D, like, yeah, I've got a bunch of D&D books. They kind of just sit there. All my models are, like, literally taking over my room physically. You know, I've got a purple sun just sitting right here on my desk, and a Maelstrom there, and another box of 10 Bestigors. So this is yet another one from the previous video, the last time I mentioned them.
So I'm gonna take this in probably a different direction.
No, it's fine. Go.
We're intending, but so you know, I'm always thinking about Warhammer. Always, it is so on my mind that it's almost problematic realistically, because you have to think to yourself, it's not normal for me to be recording a podcast about Warhammer, but at the same time, I'm riding my postie bike, you know. Just a shout out to John McGrath again, or I'm sitting at work listening to a Warhammer podcast the whole time. And then when I'm at home after work and I'm sitting on the couch or I'm about to have dinner or whatever, I'm building a list on Azir on my phone, right? And then after my family and everything have gone to bed, I'm sitting down at my table and then I'm painting. And then when I'm not doing that, I'm actually planning a trip to go interstate with all my mates to play Warhammer, right? And and then I've got my garage, which I've converted into my man cave, put down carpet, put up a stud wall, and this is my, like, it's almost dedicated to gaming and Warhammer, right? And so it's a hobby that I've chosen to consume my spare time with, but it bleeds out of that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And bleeds into so many other areas of your life. And so I just want to explore that a little bit, because it's both positive and negative. It's positive because, I mean, realistically, when do we look at this as being, okay, this gives me a constructive thing to do with my time, which also leads into social interactions, and which at, you know, my age, sort of 38, it's not every day that you just make new friends, right? But you always make new friends when you go to tournaments and play Warhammer.
Always.
Because you're meeting people with the same interests. You've always got something in common to talk about, and from that single point of meeting, you can always engage with each other until the next time you see each other. So it's fantastic for making friends. So that's the positive side of it, right? It's something constructive. I'm still working with my hands. I'm learning new skills in painting. It's attention to detail. And I'm making new friends. That's all the positive as well. But then you have to think to yourself at some point, at what point do we stop calling it hobby and we start calling it addiction?
I think around the time you have a second army is when it's an addiction. And so, right, like, so if you're on, like, your 6th or 7th army, you're fucked, and there's no help for you. Like, there's no AOS Anonymous. Like, we can't pull you back. The best we can do is just hunker down and commiserate with you. No, I like that you bring that up, because I have been around, like, a bunch of nerd stuff my whole life, and there are a couple, like, communities that I will, like, the speedrunners, fighter games, and D&D all have really strong, great communities. And I've made a couple friends through those. But we're talking 1 year out of my local gaming store, I've already made more close friends in this lifestyle than I have in a lifetime of that other stuff. And part of it, like anything, is timing. Part of it's me. You know, like I'm at a point where, like, making friends is hard to do. And you go to a tournament, and, like, I've already got that first barrier to communication out of the way when I show up to a tournament. I don't need to find out if I have something in common with you yet. I know you do. And from there, it becomes exploring what else do we have in common. And those are my stronger relationships, is like, okay, we've got AOS in common. Well, now what else, right? And then, like, and now what else? And you know, I thumb out messages on Twitter and stuff like that. I would say when it becomes negative is when it's at a threat to, like, any addiction, health, well-being, and well-being can include your financial stability and well-being. If you are throwing away money at models instead of paying your bills, you've gone jokingly, I said you've gone too far at 6 army. No, we really like. That's where you need to maybe reassess your priorities.
Yeah, but I think it's I always wonder about, because when we talk about it, I mean, it could be as simple as you go, well, do I want to buy this one extra box of rats or not, right? And you buy it, and then at the end of the month, you find you're $50, $100 short of where you wanted to be, and you're like, okay, um, was that problematic that I bought this box because it's still sitting on the shelf, I haven't used it, and those funds that I wasn't aware of could have been used better elsewhere. So that's like, obviously, if you just have spent all your money on Warhammer and you have no money for food or anything else, then it's a real problem.
Right.
But
It has become a
but I
real
think
problem then. We like to
but
joke
what
it's
I'm
plastic crack, but that's when it becomes a real problem.
yeah, but in some ways it is, I think, because sometimes that because it is so pervasive in all the aspects of our life,
It takes
instead
over.
of being 100% focused on work, I'm 90% focused on work, and I'm building a list in the other part of my brain. And I find that there's an interesting dynamic that, like, because the hobby is so because how many people do you know that play Age of Sigmar or 40k, but play Games Workshop products? Let me just say that also play six other games at the same time. What I normally see is that people either play six other games and very little Games Workshop, or they play very heavily Games Workshop. Do you think that would be a fair assessment from your experience?
I mean, you're talking to a guy who's about to have a video game marathon take up a bunch, like a whole calendar
Not,
month. No, no, okay.
no, forget about video games. Take them out. Take video games
Because
out.
I'm the most committed to this because it requires the most time, Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
But I keep those other things on the back burner,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
like I'm able to like run a weekly D&D game, but
Right.
I don't play Age of Sigmar weekly usually because of that, right?
Right.
And so like my but like that's not that I'm not constantly making the list. I'm not at work constantly thinking about it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
mm,
So,
but
but it seems to be that so many people, once you're into this hobby,
you're in.
it's pervasive. You're in.
In
It's
for a
pervasive.
penny, in for a pound. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's the thing is like I think, and the barrier really is you buy your first model, cool, you're interested. You buy your first kill team for that other game, or you buy your first war band now. Like now you're in a little bit more. Once you get that 2K army, you're in.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
once you have the full fieldable, even if it's the Grey Tide, you are now in. And then when you have that, once you get that one to a point and finished, and you get the second army, I think you're just your life is Warhammer now. Like it's like
Yeah.
like I think that like
So,
that's how I frame it is like it's a progression of like anything.
so what if you're a person that have, because it was Mental Health Week, right? So what if you're a person with mental health problems, whatever it
Mm-hmm.
is that your demon is that you struggle with,
Yep.
and then you're all of a sudden introduced into this hobby that becomes so pervasive in your life,
Ooh.
whether or not that is a good dynamic or not. I want to explore this with what's his name, Alex
Yeah, yeah,
Mile
yeah,
Notes or
yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I really would like to deep dive into the or any observations between personality type, addiction, Games Workshop, because what I see is that people that get into this hobby, into Games Workshop products, and have a social group around them to support that and encourage it, get straight into it, and there's so many benefits that come from it as well. But but it might not necessarily be the best thing for every person because it does become such a pervasive part of your life that when
Another
something turns bad, can
so
it?
so
Yeah.
so if I can riff on this a little bit, your biggest threat to your well-being is monetary with Age of Sigmar. Can we agree on that? Like it's because you're gonna, and from there other problems are gonna snowball, right?
Yeah, I think it. Well, I think it'd be monetary and also time,
Yeah. Well, okay.
right?
So
If you're,
yeah, you've got
yeah.
to
So like,
sacrifice. But when you get into another addiction, like you have some of those other vices, you have like other mental health issues. Like I am a Wisconsinite, which means I am a. It just come. I get issued a card when I show up that I am a drinker. Um,
okay.
so like my other chief vice is drinking.
Mhm.
Drinking has a monetary component. Every week I buy either a case or a bottle of something. Sometimes I buy multiple. To put it in perspective, usually what I buy could buy me at least a blister pack. It could go all the way up to a box of something for Age of Sigmar, but I always buy that,
You
right?
know you've got a problem whenever you buy something, you
Yeah,
compare
I'm
it
like
to how much is
yeah,
this
like
game?
I'm like if I could buy okay, so I could buy the good whiskey this week, or I could buy the cheap whiskey and save $50 for a box of Bone Reapers. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
no, it's like, but again, so like you've got the monetary investment in other vices usually too. There's a small time investment, not the same way with Age of Sigmar. Um, it's a different proportion, but then there's a health investment. There is a
Oh yeah.
physical health problem that immediately occurs with these other addictions, right? Well, not
Mhm.
immediately, but it begins to occur. Age of Sigmar doesn't hit the health first the way some of these others do. It goes money and health for a lot of the other addictions. You know, you do heroin, it's money and health. Like,
Yeah.
and then you start to lose time because you're fucking zonked out and, you know, you're just a vegetable for like fucking 4 hours to 12 hours of
Yeah.
every day.
Just because you brought up alcohol and just an interesting dynamic I wanted to sort of mention on sort of alcohol and say Age of Sigmar as a comparison, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have so I have an extended family, they have a get together. Each time they have a get together, each one of them brings, you know, X amount of alcohol that they've just recently purchased. In
Right.
Australia, alcohol is very expensive compared to America,
Dirt
right?
cheap.
So say you're going to spend like $40 to $60 on a bottle of scotch or something like that to
Mm-hmm.
bring to the event. You have five people which all show up. There's $250 in alcohol that all of those people have brought for this one specific occasion, and then they consume it all in that event. They have the effect of it in that event, and everyone laughs and everyone has fun. There's a social
Oh, I
event,
see where you're
but
going
it's
with this.
completely acceptable, right?
Yeah.
But if then those people who aren't in the hobby come look at the price of, say, you know, like a box of endless spells, and they go, what the hell, you're paying $50 for the plastic, you know, for just this plastic, this ridiculous, all this stuff is so expensive. And I consider it, well, hang on, you just spent $60 on a bottle of scotch which
That's
you're going
gone.
to give you enjoyment for, like, yeah, it's gone for like in 6 hours or whatever it is. This is going to bring me enjoyment for untold hours moving
Yes.
forward, and the tears of my enemy. This seems
Which
like a
are
very,
priceless.
yeah, I mean,
You
this
can't
seems
pay
like
for Tears of Venom.
such a healthier interaction for my life and everything moving forward than your, but yet one is far more socially acceptable than the other.
I mean, but that's the plight of all nerdery, my friend. Is you're just simply an outlier group in terms of the status quo. Is you're not what you do isn't socially acceptable. Like nerd is more and more acceptable, but amid the nerd hierarchy, the tribes, wargamers are like the most outlier niche. Like I think they're like D
You
and
think,
D. Stranger Things made D&D ubiquitous. Everyone knows what the fuck Dungeons and Dragons is now. Everybody
yeah,
knows. Add in Critical Role. Everybody is interested in it. There is nothing like that for Age of Sigmar. We're still very much. I don't want to call us insular because I've never seen a more accepting community of various archetypes and cross sections of human being. Like, if you want to play Age of Sigmar, I will fucking teach you to play Age of Sigmar. In fact, I will, like a
yeah,
pusher of a drug, try to get you to
yeah,
buy your first box of models.
yeah,
Like,
very true.
you know, like so I'm the bad enabler of this hobby. Like, I want you to buy models and come play. Um,
Yeah,
so like I mean, there's a closeness to this group that I think keeps you in check when it comes to some of the more negative habits. Like I just this is hitting a little close to home because I sort of impromptu ended up going to NashCon
right.
and like I could afford it, but
Yeah,
like I could afford it, right? In like big brackets that like it's like I can afford it, but you shouldn't just spend money on everything you can afford, right? Because now future you has a
yeah,
problem.
that's right. That's right. Yep.
So now future me
Yeah.
has to deal with the problem, and then like okay, I'd already budgeted to go down to Circle City. This is going to be the first weekend of October. So I'd already budgeted to go to Circle City, which is a team tournament. I'm super pumped for the team tournament format. I haven't gotten to play it yet. I think this is a great dynamic to the game. I really want to play teams. I'm going with the first friend I ever made at a tournament away from my local game store. Kyle, I shout him out on the stream from time to time. I'm going with Kyle, and then Brendan, who's basically like the death local hero for our region. Like he is the Lord of Death. Like so, like I get to be on the team with like basically honestly like the evil side of the force, or like the good side of the force and the dark side of the force, and like right there on the team with these two guys. The thing I'm the most I'm just like looking forward to this, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. So like this is gonna be cool. And then I had to back out of it because shit happened in reality. Like I feel like crap right now, and like I mean I feel physically bad. Like I had to back out of this tournament. That's probably a sign that like you're a little more invested than you should be. Because if there was like I'm backing out of a Magic tournament, whatever, man. Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
like I can't run D&D next week. I feel a little bit bad because it's all of my friends that I run D&D for, and I'm like I'm giving them their serotonin for the week. They're looking forward to this D&D game, and now I can't run it, and so like they are less happy than they would have been that week had they gone. And so like I was a little so it's a little bit like I felt really bad, but then the community side comes in and they're like, "No, Andrew, we understand. It's cool, dude." You know, and like I really expected like, "Nope, this is it. I just burned all of the bridges. Like I have no friends left in the community." And like my brain immediately starts to spiral because I am someone who struggles with mental health, and I take every issue in my life tends to be interconnected with other issues too. It's not just Age of Sigmar. It's if I can't sell a story, I am bad at all of the things. Like it's not just I'm suddenly terrible at Age of Sigmar because I couldn't sell a short story. Like it's that's just part of me. And so I'm just expecting the other shoe to drop, and I'm like, oh no, like everyone then just like, hey Andrew, no, it's cool, and I'm like, okay, cool, now I'm back in check because I think that community does have perhaps the most positive aspect of Age of Sigmar isn't the models, isn't the lasting effect of like I've got my endless spells here that I'm every time I resolved a purple sun, I have just fucking gotten giddy. It's always done a big effect. That joy. And I keep getting to have that every time I cast that spell for the whole rest of the time it's relevant in the game. Like, so that lasting effect there is cool, but the real bond, the real important part is the Age of Sigmar community. That there. And I'm really happier on this show because one of the first videos I saw, like, I think there's a progression for everyone when they get into Age of Sigmar. As you start, probably local, you more than likely start with a friend. Like some friend gets you, and then you start going to the local store, or you find a store, right? Maybe go to like a Games Workshop store or an LGS. And then you go on the fucking internet, right? Like, you go to TGA, you go to the Facebook groups, and you start to branch out from there. And then you start watching YouTube videos because you want to get good because you've like lost at your local gaming store once.
And that's when you subscribe to Doom and Darkness.
And that was when I subscribed to Doom and Darkness on YouTube. And the first video I saw was you driving in a fucking tank through like the Outback or whatever. I don't know what the fuck your landscape is like. Like getting out with your video. Yeah, and like just prying, like talking about Age of Sigmar, then getting out your truck, like swearing about kangaroos and like just fucking roo and like pulling it out the grill of your tank that you just like or whatever, I don't know, pulling it off the side of the road and then talking about Age of Sigmar. I'm like, I remember that was like one of my first. It was like that, and it was that and AOS Coach, and I couldn't tell you which one I watched first. But like that,
I can tell you watched me first.
It was you first. Is that it? Like objectively speaking, yeah. So I watched that video and I'm like, this guy gets me. Because then I go and I'm driving in my work truck. It's not as impressive as your tank, and it's deer instead of kangaroo, and it's a fucking boatload of snow at the time. I starting it. It was like January, December. It's just like January, December, February, like fucking snow snow and deer instead of outback desert and kangaroos. And like I saw that parallel there, where like. You're literally in the upside down, and like I have now connected to this human being across the world. Because I'm as excited about tiny plastic men as he is.
Yeah, it's so easy to relate. There are so many people from different walks of life, some of them extremely similar, perhaps, like you're alluding to with you and me, and we all just like our plastic toys, and we both have the same problem of we can't stop thinking about them.
It's a habit. It's an addiction. Yeah.
So you can literally walk up to someone at a tournament, be like as awkward as Napoleon Dynamite, and say, "Hi, my name's Michael, and I like Gutbusters," and they'll be like, hi, my name's Andrew, and I like Nagash, and you're automatically best friends because you both know exactly where you're coming
Yeah,
from. So,
yeah, yeah.
no, that truly is the absolute best thing about the whole hobby, I find. And I always say, that's the whole reason I go to tournaments, and just to meet the same sort of like-minded people, hang out, have fun, roll dice, see what happens when Thankwell puts 4 fire throwers on one unit, and yeah, roll all those dice, and that's what it's
Yeah,
about. So.
and also like the tears of your enemies and crushing people and getting trophies is also like a lot of fun too. Like that's.
Yep, it can be fun. Yeah, not so many trophies in my Age of Sigmar tournament career so far, but we'll wait and see.
Oh man! All right. Is so? What do you want to put on blast? Like shout outs to shout outs. What are you doing?
No, well, I
Obvious.
just want to remind everyone that if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you leave a comment below, hit the subscribe button for Mr. Mephisto. We're going to give a giveaway for a box of Fellwater Trogos on Doomcast episode 5. I just want to shout out this guy, Mr. Meph, because he's keeping me company during the week, and it's awesome and fantastic. So just want to see this grow. Want to see you keep up the good work. A big thank you to all the content providers that keep our everlasting addiction to Age of Sigmar going throughout the week when we can't play. And that's really it, man. I look forward to seeing who and what you're going to talk to and about next, and it's all good.
Yeah. Next show is going to be AOS Coach. I'm gonna basically it's Oztober, man, not October around here, and it's come early. Like, do you
Yeah.
have Santa Claus down there? Like, is that a thing in Australia?
Santa Claus is a thing, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not sure. Is it like like there's Santa come? So it's like Santa came early, and now you get Oztober early. So we're going basically back to back with Australians. I'm actually gonna have Christian Ware on in a couple weeks.
Ah,
To
well, Christian
but
is one of my favorite people in the world.
be it, he's not. I don't know. Like we've claimed him now. I don't know if I can count him as an Australian anymore.
He is fucking Australian, mate.
Is he
You can't
okay?
have him. You can't have him.
We
He's the
can't.
nicest guy.
He
I
is.
love being around him. Just I love his attitude to hobby, to people, everything. Like Christian is he's the boss.
Yeah, yeah, it's him, and then Luke's actually gonna join me, and we've got a little bit of a
Luke
weird.
Stone.
Yeah, Luke, yeah, yeah.
Is he going to talk about his Scourge Privateers?
I'm gonna try to keep him off the subject of Scourge Privateers. I have a little bit of something else in mind for that cast.
Let's just say big congratulations to Luke at the moment because he just had another baby.
That's right.
Like yesterday, and if there's one thing in the world that's better than Warhammer, it's children, like little kids and family and so forth. So big congratulations to Luke. That's excellent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Congrats, man, and good luck with all that. The only thing better than Warhammer and babies, though, is training minions that are your babies to grow up and play Warhammer with you.
Well, yeah, I like my son just being able to crawl under the table quick and pick up my dice that
The
I've
dice,
dropped.
yeah,
Who else do you have on after Luke?
Uh, so I've got a little bit of a hole in the schedule. I gotta figure out. I'm thinking of maybe doing
Right.
bringing on some of the viewers, doing like a viewer thank you type episodes to bring on a couple
Okay.
people who watch but aren't necessarily content creators.
Well, if
Giving
you want to
giving
I was going to say, if you want to keep it Australian, you could reach out to Joel McGrath from Measure Gaming or
I
Clint
could
Mallet from the Heralds of War podcast, and all good people.
I could talk to Joel. I think that's good. And I'm leaving a spontaneous rantcast in there somewhere to have the arch nemesis of the Midwest, Brendan Melnick, on to talk Bone Reapers with me at
Well,
some point.
I love Brendan and everything he's got to say, so I'll certainly be tuning in for that
It's
one.
it's fun because he's got this persona, and it's like I like WWE. I like wrestling heels. I'm
Yeah.
very much into like the heels, and it's like so I like a good heel persona and stuff, and I think he's kind of got that going on a little bit, but he's also a very passionate guy when it comes to the game. So that'll be a
Right.
fun episode. Maybe a little good cop bad cop dynamic when he comes on. But Joel and
Well,
and
Joel will be a bad cop. I'm just warning you now. If you haven't.
oh, I like that chippiness to like we're talking about like kind of the differences between the oh man, we can just bring it back here real quick. We were talking about the sort of differences between some of the communities and stuff, and I think Australia has that like more than other scenes has it's the sledging. You've got like that sort of like giving each other shit a little bit more, taking the piss out of each other a little bit more than like at least here in America where it's a little bit more cordial, you know? Like you walk up to a table.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think it's really that. I think it's more just that some of us are better than others. So, for example, I am better than AOS coach in everything that I'll ever always do. And so that's just a natural hierarchy and how it plays out. So, but you know.
All right, sorry for the cold close there, everybody. Doom, thank you so much for coming on. Thanks for reaching out and you know and joining me for this. This has meant a lot. It's they say don't meet your heroes, but hell, man.
Mate, I'm so happy that I could just participate. Love what you're doing. Keep it going, even if it was by accident. And big thank you to you. So
yeah, right on. And thank you, chat. Thanks for joining us on this wacky and wild journey tonight. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, chat.
We'll see you later.
Cheers.